You've buried it deep, haven't you? That rage, that ache, that storm you pretend doesn't exist. You've convinced the world you're calm, collected, controlled. But I see it. The war inside you. It claws at your ribs like a beast caged. Too long. You didn't silence it. You starved it. You didn't kill it. You hid it beneath layers of shame and scars. But that fire, that's your birthright. That fight you run from is the forge that sharpens your soul. And until you face it, you'll keep dying with your fists closed. But here's the truth you avoid every night when the silence gets loud. You didn't bury that fire to survive. You buried it because you were afraid of what you might become if you unleashed it. Afraid that your power might burn bridges, break norms, or shatter illusions. But that fear, that's the first sign you're close to something real. Because real power doesn't fit into boxes. It doesn't obey. It becomes. And the longer you suppress it, the more your soul starts to rot from within. Not because you're broken, but because you're unlit. Because the fire is suffocating, waiting to erupt through your skin like destiny. You dress your rage in politeness. You coat your pain in smiles. You've learned how to bleed beautifully. But inside, you're screaming for something real, something primal. You want to feel your own weight, not just survive the days, but own them. You want your breath to mean something again. So stop embalming your emotions. Let them roar like the storms they were born from. What you call control is just delayed collapse. You think if you just stay quiet long enough, the fire will go away. It won't. It's not going anywhere. It's been watching, waiting, growing. Every time you stayed silent when you should have roared, every time you bowed your head instead of breaking the chains, it remembers. And one day, it'll either consume you or crown you. So let it rise, let it snarl, let it tear through the lies you've told yourself to survive. Because surviving isn't the same as living. And hiding isn't the same as healing. You don't need more numbness. You need the burn. The wild, unforgiving kind that sears off everything false. That fight you hide is not your weakness. It's your soul's final scream for truth. Answer it. They told you to be peaceful, to stay soft, but softness never saved anyone from the wolves. You want to heal? Good. Then bleed first. Then scream. Then claw your way out of the silence you drowned in. You think the pain is punishment? No, it's permission. The suffering is sacred. It's the fire's language. And only those who speak it get reborn. Only those who burn become unbreakable. They told you calmness is strength, but they never taught you how to be calm while bleeding. They told you to love yourself, but skipped the part where you need to fight for yourself first. You can't meditate away the war in your chest. You can't stretch your way out of suffering that never had closure. You're not a monk. You're a warrior in exile. You've mistaken silence for healing, but healing has a scream in it. It has fists, sweat, blood, and fire. You won't find peace by avoiding the battlefield. You'll find it when you stand in the ashes and say, I survived. Not because you were peaceful, but because you were powerful. The truth is, they feared what you might become. Because a man who embraces his suffering can't be tamed. They feared your voice would wake others. They feared your fire would spread. So they handed you shame and called it wisdom. They taught you to flinch at your own reflection. But that reflection is your truest ally. It's not soft, it's not sweet, it's scarred, it's loud, it's undeniably alive. And it's tired of being silenced. Stop apologizing for the rage that saved you. Stop bowing to opinions that have never lived your life. You weren't built for obedience. You were built for resilience. You don't heal by suppressing the war. You heal by winning it. By charging headfirst into the wounds they told you to ignore. This isn't toxic. It's truthful. It's not chaos. It's clarity. And once you taste it, you'll never beg for peace again. You'll become it. You'll learn to carry fire without burning others. But first, you have to stop burning yourself. You have to stop holding it all in to keep everyone else comfortable. Because peace that costs your soul isn't peace, it's slavery. And you weren't born to kneel. You weren't made to shrink. You were forged to rise, to rage, to resurrect. So let the fire scream through you, let your pain preach, and let every breath become a battle cry. You weren't made for comfort. You were carved from war. When you were broken, you weren't destroyed. You were reforged. Every betrayal, another hammer strike, every sleepless night, another breath in the furnace. You keep asking for peace like you've earned it. But peace isn't given, it's taken by the ones who've died and returned wearing their scars like armor, by the ones who stop hiding and start fighting. So ask yourself, how long will you kneel before your own fear? You've been tricked into thinking that peace is found in stillness, but the stillness they sell you, it's not peace, it's paralysis. You weren't meant to sit in silence and pretend the war is over. The war isn't over until you win, and you don't win by hiding in soft places. You win by walking barefoot across the coals of your past, by turning your betrayal into blueprint, by dragging yourself out of the pit, not clean, not polished, but reborn. Peace isn't what you crave. You crave the man who earns it, and you earn it with grit, with sleepless nights and haunted mornings, with the kind of scars that don't show on skin, but in soul. This isn't about being okay. This is about becoming whole. The world doesn't hand you healing. It hands you hammers. And you build yourself from the ruin. Every lie they fed you is just wood for your fire. Every failure is steel for your sword. So raise it. Fight with it. You say you want peace, but do you want what creates it? Do you want the sleepless grinding? The isolation that screams louder than any applause? The loneliness that carves out wisdom you can't read in books? Because that's the price. No one tells you that peace has blood in it. It's soaked in decisions no one else understands. And if you're not ready to be misunderstood, then you're not ready to be free. Because freedom only comes to the feral. So stand up all the way, not halfway, not kinda, not if they approve. Stand with your scars exposed, with your truth loud, with your fists clenched, not to fight others, but to hold on to yourself. You weren't carved from comfort. You were summoned by suffering. So rise like the weapon you are. Walk through hell if you must, but don't you dare come back soft. There's something ancient in you, something primal, forgotten. It doesn't speak in words, it roars in silence. You feel it when the room goes dark. You feel it when your back hits the wall and there's no one left to call. That's not weakness. That's the weapon they didn't expect you to sharpen. The weapon you became when you chose to endure. Don't run from it. Walk into it. Let it consume what was never meant to stay. You've tried to smother it with distractions, with noise, with validation, with comfort that never satisfies. But ancient things don't die easy. They wait beneath the surface, still, patient, furious. That growl in your gut? That's the buried God within. And it doesn't want peace. It wants resurrection. It wants you to stop pretending you're small. It wants you to tear off the mask, spit blood, and remember. Because you didn't come from safety. You were born from something wild and untamable. You are not broken. You are buried. And now the ground trembles. Not because you're lost, but because you're rising. Every scar you carry is a symbol, not a stain. You didn't survive to stay silent. You survived to speak fire, to awaken the beast that dreams in your bones, the one who knows how to walk through hell without blinking, the one who never needed saving, only permission. And now, permission has arrived. That silence you feel? It's not emptiness. It's the drumbeat, the call before the hunt, The storm gathering behind your ribs, let it build, let it thunder. Let your enemies hear it before they ever see your face. Because when you finally stop holding back, the world won't recognize the version of you that emerges. It will stare in awe or run in fear. Either way, you'll finally be free. So no, don't tame it. Don't leash it. Let it break the chains they wrapped around your voice. Let it tear through the cage you called self-control. This isn't madness, it's memory. The kind that roars louder than reason. The kind that turns men into monsters, and monsters into legends. Walk into the ancient fire like it knows your name. Because it does. And it's waited long enough. I've seen what happens when men hide their fight. They die slowly. Not in the body, but in the soul. They become ghosts inside routines. They trade their fire for comfort and call it maturity. But the real ones, the warriors, they never stop burning. They just learn how to wield the flame without getting consumed. Because there's a difference between losing control and becoming the storm. And you were meant to become the storm. They walk through life like shadows of who they were meant to be. Their eyes dim, their spine softens, and their dreams rot quietly in the basement of their soul. Not because they lacked talent, but because they chose silence. They stopped answering the call, stopped swinging, started shrinking. Until one day they could no longer recognize their own reflection. Until one day they realized the fire didn't die. It turned on them, and it burned everything they loved in the name of regret. You can't cage the fight forever. You can lie to your friends, to your family, even to yourself. But your soul remembers the war you ran from. It remembers every second you let fear dictate your path. It remembers when you quit, and it will haunt you with quiet rage until you choose redemption. Not by comfort, but through confrontation. Not by numbing it, but by igniting it. Because you were never made to fade. Look around. How many men do you know living lives of quiet suffocation? Smiling on the surface, hollow underneath, working jobs that drain them, living in houses that feel like prisons. And every night, they stare at the ceiling wondering when they gave up. Don't become one of them. Don't trade your soul for approval. Don't kill your fire for a paycheck. You are not meant to survive. You're meant to set fire to everything false and rebuild from ash. And if the world calls you angry, good. If they call you too intense, perfect. Because your intensity is what will tear down the walls. Your fire is what will light the path for others too afraid to burn. You weren't meant to be palatable. You were meant to pierce the dark, to be the flame they tried to smother. And still, you rise, not quietly, but like a war cry that splits the sky. There will be no applause, no hand to lift you. You will drag your own resurrection from the dirt. You will scream into the void, and it will not echo. But that is where you find truth, not in being seen, but in seeing yourself. You want to feel alive? Then bleed with purpose. You want strength? Then crawl until your knees turn to iron. You want freedom? Then break every chain you forged. This isn't a movie. This is the war of becoming, and it's not for the faint. You will feel abandoned. You will scream into darkness and hear nothing but your own breath. But that silence? That's where the gods listen. That's where your real voice is forged. Not in praise, but in persistence. Not when they cheer you on, but when they forget your name. That's when you become real. Not an image, not a role, but something raw, something eternal. You want meaning? Then suffer for it. Not once, not briefly, but until every excuse burns away. Until all that's left is truth. Because truth is never soft. It doesn't come with applause. It comes with war. The kind that strips your ego down to the bone. The kind that demands sacrifice. and gives nothing but clarity in return. Clarity so sharp, it cuts you open and makes you whole again. You are not owed transformation. You must earn it. Every inch, every scar. And when you fall, no one will catch you. They're not supposed to. Because it's in the falling that you find your hands. In the crawling that you find your knees. In the agony that you discover your will. No applause, no savior. Only the sound of your own breath refusing to quit. And when you finally rise, when your body is made of iron and your heart is made of fire, when your soul has been broken and rebuilt with purpose, that's when you'll understand. Applause was always a distraction. You didn't need it. You just needed you. The real you. The one forged in silence, betrayal, and flame. The one who never needed saving, just awakening. Your fire isn't a flaw, it's a compass. It points to everything you've run from. The childhood wounds, the heartbreak, the rage. It's telling you, fight. Not out there, in here. So fight. With your hands, with your breath, with your will. Not to destroy, but to awaken. Because the man you hide from isn't your enemy. He's your edge, and he's waiting for you in the flames. You've mistaken pain for punishment, but it's the ritual of kings. No crown was ever earned in peace. No legacy carved in comfort. That fire you hide was the moment you were chosen. It was the scarred hand reaching through the chaos saying, "Come with me, become." And still, you ran. Because the world taught you fear, taught you shame. But what the world feared in you is exactly what will set you free. You don't need their permission. You need your permission to burn, to rise, to return. You want peace? Then fight your war first, not against others, against the part of you that's still hiding, that still begs to be liked, that still thinks silence is survival. But survival isn't life, it's prison. You don't live until you bleed and choose to keep going. You don't awaken until you scream into the mirror and recognize the God inside the man. The war you've been avoiding is the womb of your becoming. It's not a curse, it's a calling. Answer it like a warrior, or rot in the echo of your own hesitation. You keep trying to fix yourself, but you were never broken. You were split between the part of you that obeys and the part of you that remembers. Remembers the beast. Remembers the child who had no choice. Remembers the moment the world tried to make you small. And now you don't fix, you reclaim. Your fire is memory, power, prophecy. And it's time you stopped running from your own legend. You weren't born to blend in. You were born to ignite. To burn so others would know how to find their way through the dark. To howl with the kind of pain that becomes poetry. To bleed with the kind of love that turns into thunder. You don't need healing. You need unleashing. You don't need quiet. You need war drums in your chest. That fire is not a flaw. It is your language, your weapon, your inheritance. Speak it, wield it. Let it consume what was never true. And step forward, not as a survivor, but as a storm. So don't pray for the fire to leave. Pray for the strength to endure it. Don't ask for the pain to fade. Ask for the eyes to see what it's building. Let your solitude speak louder than their noise. Let your scars write scripture on your skin. Let your rage become your resurrection. Because the fight you hide is the fire you need. And the day you stop running, that's the day you become invincible. There's no salvation without suffering, no transformation without torment. You keep asking for the pain to pass. But what if it's the very thing molding you into something immortal? This isn't about comfort. This is about conquest. The battlefield is internal. The war is sacred. You don't get stronger by escaping. You get stronger by standing, by holding the blade of your own memories and refusing to drop it. Let your agony crown you. Let it baptize you in truth. You weren't made to be spared. You were made to endure. So, world only respects one kind of soul, the one that refused to die quietly, not the loudest, not the most loved, but the one who became steel in silence, the one who chose solitude over surrender, the one who bled in the shadows and stitched their heart with fire. That's you. That's who you are beneath the excuses. You don't need another reason to rise. You are the reason, so rise. Again and again and again. Stop searching for light in other people. You are the fire they've been trying to imitate. Let them call you too intense, too much, too loud, too different. The sun doesn't ask permission to burn, and neither should you. You're not here to fit in. You're here to set the standard. Your flame was never meant to be manageable. It was meant to be unforgettable. Own it, unapologetically. This is your reckoning. The moment you no longer flinch from your reflection, the moment you realize everything you needed was inside you all along. You are the fire. You are the weapon. You are the reason the darkness keeps backing away. So stop asking for peace when you were born for war. Stop praying for ease when you were built for the climb. Stop fearing the burn when it's the only way to rise. Because invincibility isn't about being untouched, it's about becoming untamed.